next thing that we're going to be having is a panel by Moti Pe'er, CEO at Blonde 2.0, with Tal Ron, CEO at Tal Ron, Adrian Clark, CEO at Evident, Gil Dudkevich, CEO and co-founder at Mobile Chain, and Ophir Gertner, co-founder at Stocks and Smart Logic.
So guys, thank you for joining us. Again, sorry for the delay. We have a really great panel, even though in the agenda it's only saying the future of blockchain. I promise you it'll be interesting and entertaining. We have really a great team of speakers here, and we have the leaders in PR, not only of ICO, but also on all the digital. And we have Ophir, one of the leading entrepreneurs. Let's do it step by step, and we'll start the panel from start, okay? Thank you. First of all, I have here my friend, everybody knows Moti Pe'er, the king of PR, from Blonde 2.0, co-CEO, the king of Blonde 2.0. And you will speak about the challenges, and I will, first of all, introduce everybody, and then we'll move to the questions, okay? Then we have Ophir Gertner. Ophir Gertner actually came from the FinTech, from the financial sector. Many people know him from Invest.com, one of the leaders in the financial services industry. See Ty Melinsky here. I'm sure you know him from Crypto Invest. But everybody knows Ophir, and he's also advising to several startups, and not more startups, more larger scale companies like Stocks. And I think that we'll be really happy to hear from your thoughts. Thank you, Ophir, for joining us. Third is Gil. I believe that everybody in the app marketing know the company that actually is the owner of your company is Startup, okay? Startup with APP, company from Netanya with 200 employees. You know, these are really the cream of the crop of the online. You cannot actually market an app without using the technology. And the more interesting thing, the spin-off where Gil actually works, actually have 400,000 applications actually installed their SDK for actually implementing your blockchain technology.
Not yet, but yes.
Not yet, but yet.
Not yet. I'm still working on startup, but we will have it on as part of the blockchain.
Amazing. And it's really interesting. And also, you are also based in Netanya from the same HQ of startup. And Adrian Clark. Adrian is actually the UK based. You know, we have 4 Israelis here and one from UK with a great accent. And your company, Evident Proof, is actually implementing blockchain for, let's say, let's say, old school dichotomies and old school paradigms for judicial processes, and we'll also discuss it. And thank you for coming here to Tel Aviv from London. It's not that obvious, and it's very nice to see all the people abroad and joining us for this great event. And again, I think also a warm thank you for the team, from Robert and Mike, from d10e for joining and making a really nice networking and event here today. So these are our 4 speakers, and let's hope that will be entertaining. So the first question that I would like to hear that we want to discuss, all of us here together. So each one of you, I would like to hear about the problem that occurs in the blockchain industry or the ICOs or the crypto, and how the company that you work for is actually solving that problem. And let's start with the king of PR, Moti Pe'er. Thank you, Moti.
The king. So I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Moti Pe'er, and I'm a co-CEO of Blonde 2.0. A little bit of a history. The company was founded 12 years ago, back in 2006. And that makes us a unique breed compared with the other agencies that are currently operational in the crypto realm, because pretty much all of them opened shop sometimes last year or the year before, when the total market cap of cryptocurrencies have risen above 20 or 30 billion dollars. I see a few seasoned people in the crowd, and I imagine that you got to do PR in the past. And if you did, I'm sure that you know that PR starts and ends with relationships. And we had a very long time to form and then nurture these relationships, and now we're able to capitalize on it for the benefits of our clients. Early last year, I've discovered the potential of us helping crypto and blockchain companies, so I made a move on it and established a unit dedicated to their needs. I literally diverted our best people into that department. I also hired a couple of Bitcoin maximalists from the outside. Here is one of them, Sharon, in order to instantly inject the necessary knowledge into the agency. And then we kept on doing what we were doing for many years, and that top-notch technology PR. The only thing that we had to add was the crypto vertical, and I will touch on that in a second. the idea and the challenge is, of course, to take companies which are relatively unknown. I mean, Gil and Startup are very well known, and they've been doing a very, very good job throughout the years, but many of the companies are nameless, and the founders are really unknown. So to take them into stardom, start creating a buzz for them, is a major challenge. So what we're doing comprised of three main elements. The first, is everything that has to do with ongoing PR and media relations. Basically, we're working on their messaging, we're drafting the various press releases, we're mapping the appropriate publications for each and every story, we're singling out the specific writers within these publications, and once the clients approve everything, we're utilizing our year-long connections with the media in order to get for them the traction that they aspire to achieve and also deserve. Now, the idea is to get you coverage in the three main verticals that are essential to the success of your ICO or your project. The first, which I mentioned before, is of course the crypto vertical, publications such as CoinDesk and Cointelegraph, Bitcoin Magazine, Merkle, and similar. Reason for it being because this is where you're going to find people with crypto, Bitcoin and Ether already in their wallets, and obviously they are susceptible to invest in your ICO or project. The second vertical is, of course, technology, because it's still a technology company, so publications such as Wire, TechCrunch, VentureBeat are also very important for us as well. And the third, obviously, business and financial, because whether you want it or not, you're now a FinTech company. You're on the blockchain, you're issuing a token, and therefore getting your name. Publications such as Forbes, Fortune, and similar is going to be critical to your ability to raise money, whether from institutional investors or accredited investor or just from the crowd. Now, once I'm able to get a client published in the three main verticals which I mentioned before, from the PR perspective, they stand to have a very good chance of having a successful project.
So if I understand correctly, Moti Peer. Normally when you see
PR.
Yeah. Moti Peer. No, Moti Peer. Moti, so the challenge that you spoke about is, you say, and I can also admit that what you say is 100% true. Many people, not everybody is a Ophir Gertner or Gil or startup. Some of the people Adrian, I want to say Adrian as an example, but Adrian also has been working as CTO for Microsoft in UK, so probably also Adrian is not a nobody. Okay, sorry Adrian for giving an example. But I'm sure there are people, opened their company, it's the first company, they came out of school or out of the army if they were in Israel, that's the first thing that they did. Imagine Itai Malinsky, sorry, you came to our office 10 years ago, you and your partner Shai. Nobodies, but again, came successful. But so what actually, if I understand correctly, your team, you and Sharon and the team from Blonde, are actually taking the company and giving them a one-stop shop for all the PR needs on
For only PR, yeah. I know that there are some establishments offering wall-to-wall, door-to-door, everything
papers,
under one roof service, but to my opinion, then you end up with a jack of all trades, master of none. We do PR, we only do PR, but to my opinion, we do it better than anyone else. Yeah, so we give them a very solid answer for all their PR needs.
Very nice. Thank you, Moti.
Of course.
Thank you so much. Ophir.
Yes, hi.
How are you?
Very good.
It's interesting. Ophir is also based in a building that, it's a private joke in our industry. We call it the official name is the Atrium Tower. We call it the Ethereum Tower. In Hebrew, you don't have vowels, so it reads the same. You read it, you can see it from all Ayalon Highway, and we call it as a private joke the Ethereum Tower because many of those floors, probably in most of the floors, Moti, I believe, Sharon, I think that you have many of the clients there of Blonde also sitting there in Ethereum Tower. I believe that in every floor you might find a company that does blockchain or one of your clients. But it's funny, you're also based in this Ethereum Tower, right?
Yes, one of my previous companies, which is Stocks. I will give a brief overview. My name is Ophir Gertner. Past decade, I've been in the FinTech space, involved in few companies, mostly in online trading and technology. 4 years ago, co-established Invest.com, which is an online financial service provider, highly regulated products for B2C. That's where most of my interaction with the regulators, legal stuff, and of course, B2C products, which this is my expertise. Then, as a spin-off for a company which came out from that, a company we established Stocks, which is an online prediction market blockchain platform. We had a very successful ICO in 2017.
How much did you raise?
33 million.
$33 million in this ICO.
In 18 hours.
It was a bit more than 18 hours, and we worked a bit about more.
How much
but
hours?
Yeah, it was,
From the PR perspective, it was 18 hours.
18 hours.
that's why we use him. He knows how to communicate it much better. But yeah, it was very successful, and in that point, I opened a new company, a new venture 7 months ago, which is a Smartologic.io, which is a consultancy company and integration. We help and assist companies, mostly financial, FinTech companies, or any other technology companies that want to integrate blockchain. They don't really know how to utilize the core assets of the technology into their business, and we help them in that, in the technology side, and of course also in the economic side, which is, when you said what do we help solving, is that we see that blockchain is not only a technology game changer, it's also a big and major change in the economy and how we accept a different concept of economy for companies, not only for profit, but also for the community. And we try to build products that will serve this meaning.
So what is the flow of work? Let's say, so you give like a turnkey solution, or what exactly? Let's say a client comes with you. Let's say it's an old school company that does educational games. What's the typical flow? They come to the, yeah.
That's a very good question. We try, first of all, to learn the product as much as possible, the previous product. We understand and we explain the benefits and the core assets of the blockchain technology. And then we find the places where it matches the most and where we can identify that blockchain can assist. In some companies, it's very easy. In some companies, it's very difficult or sometimes even irrelevant. And in others where it's kind of in the middle, we give the most value, assist them. We lead the project from A to Z. We are not doing everything. Of course, I agree with what Moti said before. You cannot do everything. You need to be
focused.
Focused on certain things, exactly. But we lead and we manage the whole project for them.
Interesting. Thank you, Phil. Thank you so much. Gil, you're waiting patiently.
Waiting patiently. Yeah, I'm Gil Dudkevich, founder and CEO of a startup and of Mobile Chain. And the third company, actually Mobile Chain is the fourth company that I'm founding and managing. And I'll go a bit about startup and then I'll tell you what we're trying to do. Startup is a mobile advertising and data company. We have 1.5 billion monthly active users. We have 400,000 different applications we've integrated with. Almost 200 people, offices all over the world, from India to China, US, etc. And probably the largest SDK distribution in the world after Google and Facebook. SDK is the piece of software that resides within the application that we work with. So what we want to do, why blockchain or what the mobile chain? And I'll go from personal story from yesterday evening. I had dinner with 4 people that I love a lot, and I won't mention names. 2 of them medical doctors, 2 of them lawyers. One is an ex-judge, one is a professor, one is a GM of a hospital. And so they ask me, what keeps you so busy that you can't really meet us anymore? And I say, I'm working on the blockchain. Block what? So no, cryptocurrency. Crypto, what? Bitcoin. Oh, Bitcoin, yeah, we heard about it, okay? And really, 99.5% of the population have zero clue about what blockchain means, what cryptocurrency, what's the difference between them, what to do with it, etc., etc., etc. And what we want to do is essentially bring blockchain to the masses. How you do it, I think the only thing that is in common with everyone is really this device. And if you want to reach everyone in the universe, that's the only thing that you can actually go with technology. We believe that we'll have very soon all the solutions for any app developers in the world to take anything they want in terms of blockchain and just integrate it very easily to their application so they can build blockchain-related application in almost no time. Essentially do whatever AWS do or whatever Square does, but for blockchain.
So if you speak about blockchain not only on payments, it's important to understand. You speak about blockchain in general.
In general, I'll give you from in-app wallet to smart contracts to peer-to-peer payment, but also, we have customers like Manchester City or NBA or all the sports teams. they love to do token economy. They want to build something and do, something with their audience. And they say something because that's the way they look into it. They're amazing companies, but zero capabilities of doing anything in terms of understanding the blockchain. So they want an end-to-end solution to build on the microeconomies. So with many different things, essentially all the solutions, by the way, we probably know half of what they would ask for because with the 400,000 applications, the sky is the limit. Who knows what the future will be in 2 or 3 years, but we want to be there for them.
It's interesting. You think that your background, with let's say with gaming and with instant messaging and all this is something which is relevant for a company like yours to succeed?
Absolutely. My first company was in the TV space, moving from kind of analog to digital TV. Then I moved to the PC and the internet when I had to translate what's internet mean in Hebrew for all the different entities in Israel. And then moved to mobile, and now it's to blockchain. So understanding new technology, understand how to adapt, what's the need, what you know, and be humble enough to know what you don't really know, it's crucial.
Thank you so much, Gil. Thank you. And now to the non-Israeli, Adrian.
Thank you.
Adrian from the UK. So Adrian, you're from Event Proof, and you came also from hardcore, let's say, white shoe, blue chip companies like IBM, and you've been consulting with some of IBM's partners. And now you're with Event Proof. And
Microsoft, not IBM.
It's Microsoft.
Yeah.
It's another big company. We all like these big giants. And now you're for Event Proof, and actually you're coming to solve a problem that exists. So which problem are you trying to exist, and how does Event Proof solve it?
Okay, I'll answer that question. It's probably worth initially just giving a bit of a background on Evident Proof. Evident Proof is a platform which is all about providing data evidence and immutable proof for data events. And that means any sort of generic data event. The platform was really born in a proof of concept that a software company I own with Matt over there ran with Microsoft back in November 2016, where I decided to see if it was possible to build a new type of database using public blockchain and private blockchain simultaneously that would be able to deliver proof of data events and proof in a way that you could take to court and say, right, challenge this, it's immutable. So we ran a process with Microsoft in 2016 in November, and at the end of that we decided that we had something that was worth trying to build on. It looked like we may be able to achieve this. Since November 2016, we've built the platform out into an enterprise offering, which is now has clients on it, it's generating revenue. Some of the clients are global names, and the solutions we're running range from manufacturing to pharmaceutical to the oil industry to art provenance platforms to energy generation events that are being recorded in a way that billing can't be challenged. So we have a fair bit of experience at looking at business models and technology models and applying this technology in a way that really makes sense.
It's interesting because being a lawyer, I'm a lawyer, but also I have a first and second degree in computer science, okay? So I'm coming from law and technology. I wonder how do you combine, that is the thing that most fascinates me about your company. How can we use, let's say, Event Proof for a judicial process, okay? How can we make it optimized? That's my curiosity.
How can you optimize the judicial process with Evident Proof?
Yeah, for showing the evidence. How can you use blockchain in your model to help?
I'll give you an example. Yeah. Can everybody hear me? Okay, great. So, for example, one of our clients is in the public sector, a local council, like a local government in the UK. They have a big issue with licensing taxi drivers. Taxi drivers being verified and issued taxi licenses in an incorrect way sometimes. And I don't know if you've seen this, but in the UK there was an article out 2 weeks ago saying that someone's done a study and over 1,500 taxi drivers in the UK have criminal records for everything from child abuse to fraud.
And this is taxi drivers, not Uber, because I know the Uber has
I never use the U word. I don't want to get sued here. You said that, not me. So what's happening at the moment is that the councils have really panicked. And for instance, if there's someone on their own out at night, and it's the early hours of the morning and they want to get a taxi, those people want to know that the taxi driver they're going to get in with is actually legitimate. He's not a crook. So using our platform, the local governments can now store the verification process that they've undertaken to verify the taxi driver and say, this guy is legitimate, here's the proof. We've undergone and delivered a process that we can now prove in court later on. Should we get sued by a passenger who got robbed or dropped off at the wrong place or whatever, we can prove that we were diligent in our licensing process. So when it comes to court, they're less likely to get sued. There are other instances. We have a client that records manufacturing data on the platform for respirators. Respirators are really big business now in Asia because of pollution in industry, but also in cities. So more and more people are buying respirators than ever before. These respirators are being manufactured in Asian countries, China, for example, with the same, they look exactly the same. They've got the logo on, they've got the serial number. People are buying them, the filters don't work, they're getting industrial injuries. They're suing the client. The client can now store their manufacturing data with our platform in a way that they can prove immutably that that item was either never in their manufacturing chain or that there was an item in their manufacturing chain with that serial number on, and it's being used in Germany by this company for the last 6 months. It was never in Taiwan. So it's basically, it means, unfortunately for you, it means there's less legal fees involved, and the case usually never gets to court. Sorry, man.
So, yeah, we should apologize. Thank you so much, Adrian. Thank you, guys. You see, I told you to be entertaining. we have, guys, 5-10 minutes left. I would like now to hear each one of you, because each one of you come from different fields. You know, Moti comes from the PR, and Ophir comes from the FinTech, and Gil is also from, let's say, FinTech gaming and app development and all together. And Adrian came from IBM or Microsoft? Yeah, but now he does, as you say, he does innovative, all of those. I want to hear if you think about any risks that can be, you know, tarnishing our industry in the next 5 years, and to hear from each one of you the expectation will be big in the next 5 years in our respective industries. Let's start with Moti.
Well, regulation is a major risk, but it's probably going to help the industry to get its act together and do things properly. But for now, I see that the window of opportunity is somewhat shrinking, and this for the future to determine, you know, how it would look. But again, I think it's a good thing. It's going to filter out all the scams and all the bad
cowboys. We like the word cowboys.
That project.
The binary options, and we call it cowboys.
Yeah. I would love to see some usability for the technology. I mean, all those amazing projects that are out there, some of which I'm working with, ending up with a wallet. And I would like to see the next Google or the next, you know, Apple, someone who can actually do something meaningful with the blockchain. And I'm sure that it's right around the corner, so I'm very optimistic.
So actually, Moti, it's interesting. We didn't touch here, you know, regulation. Even though I'm a lawyer, it was tempting. Moti actually, from the PR perspective, spoke about regulation. It's interesting because, you know, many people will say in closed doors that regulation is, you know, problem. Regulation is it can be difficult. Moti says here from the public eye, and I think that also from a practical eye. Good regulation can actually filter, not really fraudsters or scammers, because it's not wrong or right. But you speak about I call it cowboys. You know, people coming from the forex or people come from gaming, which is, again, there are lots of legit businesses there. But to be a cowboy, if you say what you actually say, if I understand correctly, you're not against regulation, Moti. And you say that even if now there's a large debate, let's say, between security token or utility token or large, should ICOs be subject to scrutiny, you say it at the end of the day will be a natural filtering, right? And that will be even better for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. We work with, you know, some security token project and some utility token I do see a trend, however, to refrain from public sale and do it more privately in the past few months. But again, this is what I see as the major risk, but I think it's all for the best.
Interesting. Thank you so much. Thank you, Moti. Ophir, which also came from, from invest, and from, let's say, the clean side of finance.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Moti that regulation is probably something that everyone is waiting to see where it goes. For sure, regulators are trying to find a way, hopefully it will be a decent way for everyone to to be clear and then not to harm too much the industry. Another thing I see is that most products, at least that are now available, are not really a B2C product. They are still more oriented for the early adopters, for the ones who understand blockchain more. The wallets are becoming more or less sophisticated, but still there's a lot to improve there with the product itself, and there's a lot to combine between the interface and the technology itself, which I think we see projects which are going that way, but it will take some time, and as soon as it happens, the adoption will be much higher, because right now it's only fraction, as Gil said before, fraction of the population is using actually the technology, and we are not now referring only to cryptocurrencies, but the technology itself.
The blockchain technology as a product.
Yes, correct. And hopefully such project will help also retail to adopt it much more, and I think that's a major factor to create much more
So to summarize what Ofer, if I understood correctly, you're also hoping that blockchain will not be only with this niche market early adopters. We should see it on a more broader scale, and then all us industry stakeholders will have a benefit from that.
So I think the blockchain today is where the internet was in 94, 98, okay? And when universities and military were the only usage of it, and now it's become like the Google and Amazon, and you can't live without it. Today, blockchain, you can basically transfer money, not much more than it. There is tons of stuff to do. I think it's only the beginning of it. The biggest challenge is not regulation. Regulation is part of the hustle and hurdles that you need to go through. But it's really the phobia of the users and the creativity and the time that it takes to actually adapt it. I'm sure it's going to be like huge.
Thanks, Gil. Adrian.
Okay, in terms of the future of the technology, I've been in tech for about 35 years. I've seen various technologies emerge. Some of them die. Some of them do very well. This is one of the simplest I've seen have a real impact. But there's an element to it which is really generic. It can be applied into many different business models. And the technology is here to stay, I believe, and it's going to mature some. I can see a couple of new sectors emerging based on this technology. There's one which you could describe as the fractionalization of workflows and data, for example, being able to be shared in a trustless environment in a smart way. That means business models and governments and organizations will be able to collaborate in ways that they've never been able to before, because they're unable to share data and workflows effectively in a way that's of benefit to both businesses or both organizations. This technology will enable that. So it's going to deliver new revenue streams and operational efficiencies into businesses. For example, you mentioned a taxi company earlier that I won't mention, but there's a particular large taxi company out there which is having its business model and its actual licenses are under threat in many cities around the world because they're starting to dominate the industry there. And the local, more established companies, the local, more established taxi firms are fighting against them to try to get them out. And they're going to kick them out of some cities. It's already happening. Now, if they use the DLT, distributed ledger technology, smart contracts, trustless environments, and the ability to monitor and prove all of the events that occur within that environment in a smart way, they'll keep their licenses and they'll enable the other smaller taxi companies to work with them in a way that's of more profit to both. So, for example, if they were able to share a very small element of their data to do with journey requests and share them with third-party companies and vice versa, you'd have a situation where something like this would happen. This large taxi company that you mentioned earlier could get a call for a journey from someone who's 5 miles away from its nearest car. The smart, trustless system, by trustless I mean they don't need to trust each other, it's all taken care of. There could be a small taxi company with a car 50 yards away. They could give the journey to that small taxi company, take a revenue share, make as much or near as much money as they would from doing the journey themselves, and then have their existing assets still available for another journey. What you've created there is a more cooperative environment that works better for everybody, and I think this technology can deliver that.
Thank you, Adrian. So actually, I understand you use blockchain, and you suggest how blockchain can actually use even competitors, to actually transparently cooperate with each other. Guys, it was a pleasure. I have here Moti, and I have Ophir, and Gil, and Adrian, and I'm Tal Yitzchak Ron, and I really enjoyed. And thank you so much. I hope we did it on time. Thank you so much.